Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'll speak to you this afternoon about the Khundii Minerals District. We have made an exceptional new high-grade gold discovery in this area over the last several years, and we now have the initial deposit in construction. So let me give you some of those highlights. We are the first mover in an unexplored portion of one of the world's great gold belts, the Central Asian Orogenic Belt. This past year, we formed a very powerful alliance with Mongolia's leading mining company, MMC. We have construction underway at the Bayan Khundii gold project, a high-grade, open-pittable gold system. And we have multi-million ounce potential. This is an area that hasn't previously seen exploration, and surrounding this mine, we have a multitude of deposits and prospects that show excellent potential. In addition to that, 35 kilometers to the east, we have the Zunmod molybdenum copper project, which we consider a sleeping giant, a giant molybdenum deposit capable of providing that commodity into the Chinese market. And we have a growing team of Mongolian leaders in our company, which I'll speak to as we move through the presentation. Today, we have a market capitalization of approximately $80 million and a very supportive shareholder base led by Eric Sprott, who controls 18% of the company. In addition to Mr. Sprott, we have the European Bank for Construction and Development, which owns 8%, and a host of institutions internationally, as well as a strong retail base in Eastern Canada. That belt I talked about is displayed on this page. This is the Central Asian Orogenic Belt, the second most prolific gold belt after the South African gold belts. You'll see here on the west side, Morintal, the largest gold deposit on the planet. And more recent to the world of exploration and mining, the Oyu Tolgoi deposit that is going to be the fourth largest copper mine on the planet by the end of this decade. Our Khundii Minerals District sits between the two in southwestern Mongolia and is an area that had not previously seen any modern exploration, witnessed by us being able to walk out there several years ago and pick up 4,000 gram per ton samples. So truly a unique situation to be in one of the world's great gold belts and to be first in, first mover. Our current land position within that area includes the Bayan Khundii gold deposit licenses. This is where we'll begin our first development, high-grade gold production in 2025. As we move from that area to the north 16 kilometers, we have another high-grade system, the Altanar gold, silver, lead, zinc deposit, and as mentioned further to the east, the Zunmod deposit. We see these as being developed in sequence, obviously Bayan Khundii now under construction being first. The other critical part of this district is the encroachment of major infrastructure development. I first arrived in Mongolia 25 years ago, and almost none of what you see on this map existed. The Trans-Siberian Railway to China and the Western highway system across northern China. Everything else, the mines, the rail, the highways, all of this has been built in this last 15 to 20 years. So we really are almost overnight in mining time projected into an area that's now a new mining district. We're 200 kilometers from railheads and highways and airports. So very exciting to continue to be part of that. And we really truly see this as a new district being developed with this initial mine. That initial mine had an updated feasibility presented about a month ago. It includes 500,000 ounces of gold at a 4-gram head grade. So one of the highest grade open pit gold mines being brought to production globally. We'll be producing about 87,000 ounces a year. The current net present value is $170 million at $1,800 gold. Our strategic partner, I'll come back to, MMC. We are fully permitted. We're in that early construction phase. We have a low capex of $100 million. We expect first gold in early 25. On top of that low capex, we have a very low all-in sustaining cost at $869 an ounce. A high return on investment at 35%, a short payback period of 2.4 years, and a very good recovery at 93%. This is an excellent metallurgy and as a result provides very good recoveries. Just highlighting that lower cost jurisdiction, $100 million in capex, includes a 12% contingency. And the $869 an ounce all-in sustaining cost quite low, certainly in the lower decile. Looking at that NPV, you can see if we look at closer to current gold price, we get up into that $220 million NPV. And on the right-hand side, you can see leverage to gold price on the IRR side and exceeding 40% at $2,000 gold. In terms of cash flow, and this is an after-tax free cash flow projection, we'll be looking at between $60 and $80 million a year at $1,800 to $2,000 gold. I mentioned our partner. Mongolian Mining Corporation is Mongolia's largest mining company listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. They are built around coking coal mines, shipping steel-making coal into China. They have 2,000 employees. They generate about $1 billion a year in EBITDA, so strong financially, but also bring mining and construction experience to our project. And that comes through affiliated companies in the larger MCS group. So the parent company, 30-year history in Mongolia, 10,000 employees, has businesses across mining, engineering, energy, utilities companies, and all of those strengths will be brought to bear in the development of the Khundii Minerals District. The deal we've struck is somewhat outlined on this page. You'll see our parent co at the TSX level, which currently sits with $5 million in cash, and by the way, has 6,000 Mongolian shareholders. We're the only dual-listed company on the Mongolian Stock Exchange. We have two subsidiaries sitting on the left-hand and right-hand side of this screen. Erdene Mongol is where we've done the deal with MMC. It'll be a 50-50 joint venture. And on the right-hand side, you see Erdene Resources, which holds 100% of our large porphyry molybdenum copper project. So we'll have a 50-50 split at subsidiary level, but what we've done in this arrangement is held back a 5% NSR on top of that subsidiary level split. So when you look at that over the longer term, what that means is Erdene will be seeing approximately 60% of net profits versus 40% on the MMC side. In terms of financing this project, I mentioned $100 million capex. MMC is injecting $40 million US, and we're in the final stages of lining up the senior debt with EDC, as well as other development banks. And we see them as bringing the $75 million, which will bring us to $115 million in relation to the $100 million capex. So effectively a funded project today. EBRD, by the way, is also an 8% shareholder. And those two development banks are two of the largest investors in Mongolia, very familiar with the country. They are heavily involved in Oyu Tolgoi, where they've invested between $600 and $800 million US. The European Bank, or EBRD, is the largest foreign investor to Mongolia, having invested 2.2 billion euros. We are projecting first gold in April of 2025. As you can see in the following photographs, we are well on our way to getting into full construction. You can see here the process plant. And note that this only started 3 months ago. So we're nearing 10% completion in a very short period of time. We have a number of the non-process infrastructure facilities now also under construction. We have identified the bore field. We've got a solar diesel power generation plan in place, and for the first time in Mongolia, an integrated waste facility where we'll move dry tails into that IWF. Just a close-up of that construction. Our real objective this year was to get the heavy concrete and rebar in place before Mongolian winter sets in, which is a -20 to -40 climate. So good to get that laid, and then we can start to enclose the plant over the winter months and move into full plant construction through 2024. And just coming back to the pipeline here, we have the Bayan Khundii deposit in the south, which I've highlighted. But since 2021, we've made two new discoveries, Dark Horse and Ulan, and again, exceptionally high grade. We have the Altan deposit to the north and Zumad to the east. But just to give you a sense of that upside, you can see in this slide two pits. We have the main pit at Bayan Khundii with about 450,000 ounces and a small satellite pit to the north. The grade of these pits, in the case of Bayan Khundii, over 3.5 grams, and at Dark Horse, over 6 grams. This is effectively at surface. Some of those holes are hitting ounces of gold within meters of surface. The yellow area, the shaded area, is a 0.1 gold shell. So it just gives you a sense of the breadth of mineralization here in areas that have yet to be drilled. So exceptional exploration upside. And I'll share with you just a couple of those at Ulan to the far west side. You can see how this is projected at depth. We've intersected 40 meters of 8 grams, 27 meters of 8 grams in this high-grade feeder zone that's extending over 200 meters. So blind top discovery, 80 meters, we began to hit the zone. This is just an example of the exploration plays that are underway, and this one just half a kilometer from our pit. So early days for the district, but we've taken this approach to get that first mine up and running, and this exploration opportunity is not going anywhere. As we get to cash flow, we can avoid the dilution in today's market and be much more aggressive with our exploration. And the second area I'd highlight is Dark Horse to the north, where in that white section line, we've been hitting intersections of 30 meters of 5, 45 meters of 6, just exceptionally high-grade supergene. And this is an area that is just starting to be explored. That entire area to the east, which is about 2 by 2 kilometers, we're hitting, again, ounces of gold over a meter, 2 meters in brand new target areas. So a bit of an embarrassment of riches in this area, very excited about what's to come. Again, another shot of some of the exploration that's been taking place in the area. I mentioned Altan Nar, 16 kilometers to the north. This is another high-grade open pit deposit. We came across this at surface, exceptionally good grades. We have an average of 2 grams over 500,000 ounces of gold, 3 million ounces of silver, and 200 million pounds of lead and zinc. So this will be an area that we'll move into as we get through the initial construction and initial production at Bayan Khundii, and we'll begin to radiate out into exploration in some of these other areas. And lastly, but not least, is the Zunmod Moly Copper Project. This is the largest undeveloped molybdenum project in the region. It is a mining license, so we have 70 years of tenure on this, but it's next door to the largest molybdenum consumer. China has seen a molybdenum deficit over the last couple of years. Moly prices have pushed up into the $20 to $40 range. And as a result, today, at current moly prices, we're sitting on about $6 billion of metal in this project. We did a bit of drilling this year around the white stippled areas are the outlines of the deposit. And around this, we drilled a series of holes, all of which hit ore grade mineralization. So tremendous upside for a scale up here in what is already Asia's largest undeveloped molybdenum project. A number of sections from our drilling this year just complementing the exploration upside. There is a copper component here as well, where we've begun to get into copper mineralization at depth, which is often what you see with these systems in Mongolia. And just as a reminder, we're in a country that 20 years ago was seeing rudimentary exploration. Oyu Tolgoi began to get traction in the early 2000s, and today it's about to see itself turn into the 4th largest copper project on the planet in an area very similar to what we find ourselves in southwestern Mongolia. So I believe a tremendous opportunity to investors to get exposure to a great gold project, high grade, going through that de-risking, through that Lassonde curve. But as a geologist that's been in this business for 35 years, I've yet to see the exploration upside that we've uncovered in the Khundii district. Thank you very much.